Welcome back to another Nourish, Flourish segment with yours truly, Megan the trainer, registered dietitian, and of course,
it's time.
So it's so fun to, of course, see some snow here in Wisconsin anyway, and some Christmas lights coming up, and thinking about some of the holiday traditions and fun seeing family. But now at the same time, maybe you have a lot of obligations. Maybe you have a lot of parties to go to, a lot of drinks, a lot of snacks, a lot of sugar, a lot of things that you normally wouldn't do, maybe a lot more stress too even. Who knows? So sometimes the holidays, again, as much joy and excitement as they can bring, sometimes they can also bring some uncomfortable feelings, if you will. So in today's segment, I'm going to talk about how you can help support your digestion throughout this season, because it's never fun to kind of feel wonky, in your midsection during the holiday season. So some of these tips are, honestly, all of these tips are going to be applicable whether we're in the holidays or not, but I feel like sometimes we forget about them and they just kind of stick a little bit more during this season. So the first tip, and this probably isn't going to surprise you, is that I want you to be mindful when you're eating. I want you to actually chew your food. I want you to savor the food that you are eating. Now, why is this going to be helpful from a digestion perspective? If we can chew our food, the more times we can spend mechanically breaking it down, the easier it is for everything else in the rest of our body. And if we can slow down, if we can savor, that's going to give us more satisfaction. So we're not going to have as much cravings. We're going to be satiated with the foods that we're picking and the meals that we're having, the treats that we're enjoying. And at the same time, this also helps our body get into that fully rest and digest. If we can allow ourselves to be mindful, be present in that moment. Again, this can be a really stressful time. And if we're in that stress state, that fight or flight state, that means we can't be in rest and digest. And that means that we can't really process everything in maybe the best way, and we're going to feel uncomfortable. So number one is going to be, let's just be mindful as we go around and as we eat. And number two, I want you to try to pick something that is balanced. Now, what does balanced mean? I would like you to put something on your plate that has some color to it. Now, obviously, everything has color, but what I'm saying is bright color. Get some carrots, get some green beans, get something that has kind of more of a vibrant, a rich color to it. Get a protein on your plate. And then maybe you can still enjoy some kind of a carb or a starchy grain kind of thing on the side. But we definitely don't want to be kind of leaning into one over the other or neglecting others. So that way, again, some meals sometimes are a little heavier, a little greasier, a little fattier. And sometimes if we only rely on those kinds of things, it can just make us feel sluggish and blech. So this is where, again, I would suggest picking some color, picking some protein, and then just be mindful of your portions when it comes to that other remaining kind of side. Number three, get some movement in. This isn't to say that you have to come into the gym and get a training session in, but even just after a meal, standing, being upright, walking around in the kitchen, helping clean up, that can help, again, from a digestion perspective. So if we can be moving, that gentle movement, that gentle motion can help, again, with our digestion process. And this can also help from a blood sugar perspective as well. So we're not going to be crashing and tanking with blood sugar. We can have activity kind of help us balance that out a little bit. So I know that there's some families, Thanksgiving has since passed, but some families will do the turkey trot as a tradition. You do not need to get out and go run a 5K after having Christmas meals or after a holiday party, but just know that movement is going to be beneficial, especially after meals for digestion. So I've given you 3 big tips when it comes to supporting your digestion throughout the holidays. So remembering tip number 1 is being mindful. Tip number 2 is we are going to get some balance. And then tip number 3 is we are going to get some activity. And kind of, not necessarily a full-on tip, but just a little kind of bonus one thrown in there is make sure that you start your day with a nice hearty breakfast, that we're getting some protein coming in. So especially with holidays, sometimes there's a lot more of desserts for breakfast or rolls or cinnamon rolls, sticky buns, those kinds of things, which is, again, fun for the season. But make sure that we're getting, again, a good strong start with some protein, so that way the rest of our day we're starting off on a great foot. So now that you know better, let's go out and do better so we can all be better.